I need to, I need to share my screen. Um, let's see. This is what we have going on. All right. Can everybody see that slide, the blue slide that says Be Money Coaching, Get Better Sleep?
Yes.
Yes.
Good. All right. Yay. I did it. I wasn't sure how this was going to work between Canva and Zoom, so I'm really glad that happened. So we are just going to get started. My name is, oh, hold on, let me get into this. I have to get into my little screen here. All right. So about me, I'm a Gen Xer. I'm a mom, a caregiver. I have a 92-year-old mother that I take care of and my disabled sister. I'm a Latina and I have ADHD. I was diagnosed about 2 years ago. And one of the things, or two things that keep me going when during the fall season, especially and winter, is that I love coffee. I love the comfort it gives me. And I love autumn. I love rainy days. So I think I'm in the perfect city for that because that's what we get in Seattle most of the year. So a little bit about my background with sleep is that I lost a lot of good years of sleep because I had terrible sleep habits, which could have been due to undiagnosed ADHD, but also because of my financial difficulties. And once I started my journey to better money habits and more control over my money, and letting some things go, then my sleep got a little bit better. But there was still something off, and I went to the doctor and I got diagnosed with sleep apnea just this past October. And knowing that my financial difficulties and my health with my sleep were interrelated kind of set me on this journey to figure out how to help mitigate some of the sleep symptoms so that I could get better sleep because I saw how it was affecting me in my daily life and I wanted to fix that. And so I implement some of that teaching when I talk to clients and even when I talk to my family and friends because I'm really, really like obsessed with that happening. So in a Sleep Foundation survey almost 3 years ago, 77% of people said that they lost sleep due to money worries, which probably isn't surprising to many of you. And about 43% said that they worried about being able to pay household bills. So we're not talking about oh, I don't have money to go on vacation, or I don't have money to buy this new tech gadget. It's something as basic as paying household bills. So today, we are going to focus on how money worries are just one of many causes of sleepless nights. And we're going to talk about ways to take action during the day and things to do before bedtime to help compartmentalize how and when we worry about money and what to do during the day so that we can sleep better at night. And again, the finance somnia, it's where basically your money problems are interfering with your ability to fall asleep, or they wake you up, or if you get up to go to the bathroom, or you just turn over and something jolts you awake, it may be hard to get back to sleep. That's also considered to be insomnia. And if you're thinking about money, then it's probably finance insomnia or finance somnia. So why do we need good sleep? We need good sleep for a variety of reasons. Um, it improves your memory, so you're thinking during the day. It regulates your metabolism. It reduces mental fatigue, especially during the day. And it helps your brain reorganize, recharge, and remove toxic byproducts that have built up during the day. Sleep will improve with stable jobs that have steadily increasing wages, access to quality health care, a good mattress, and safe and comfortable environments like your home, your school, your work, the neighborhood that you live in. And I think these are things that we pretty much can agree with based on lived experience. There are other things that can help you improve sleep, but these are some um, general things that have an impact on sleep if you don't have them. Like you really feel them if you don't have them. So what we're going to consider today is that we do not fix money problems at night because night is for sleeping. Our brains and our nervous system need and deserve safety and rest. We need to be able to feel safe when we're in our home in bed, covered with our blankets, our sheets, and our pillows. We need to have that sense of comfort and safety so that we can fall asleep and have that good, restful sleep that is going to give us some more energy in the morning. And we have to accept that there are things that are in our control and out of our control. Stagnating wages may not always be in our control. The neighborhood that we live in or access to healthcare may not be in our control, but there are things that we can do in our home and with our bodies that we can try to control. So we're going to go over 12 tasks that you can do during the day. Some of these will work for you. You may try some of them and they may not work. I've tried everything that I am listing here and the routines at night. Some things have worked for me and some haven't, and some things have had to be modified. So just take what sounds good to you, try it out, and modify it to your situation to see if that can help you. So the first one is to check your balances on your checking account so that you avoid any surprises and you don't forget something that has to go through your bank. And then you're thinking, oh my gosh, there's this withdrawal that's coming in 2 days, but you checked it on Monday. So you know that you have at least a couple days to act on that. You don't want to have a surprise at the weekend when the bank is closed or when there are limited hours. Track your spending in a notebook or a spreadsheet. This doesn't have to be complicated, and it's just to give you an idea of how much money you're spending on certain things to see if that lines up with your goals or with things that you're trying to cut out or with anything that doesn't align with your particular financial situation. I started tracking my expenses about 5 years ago when I started my financial journey. And it was a real eye opener because it made me realize that I was, at the end of the month, that I was spending more on certain things than I actually wanted to. And I didn't realize um, or remember that I had spent money on X thing until I started tracking it. And that allowed me to have a little bit more control over where my money was going. Make a financial to-do list. Sometimes our to-do lists are really, really super long, and we feel like, oh my gosh, I have to get through all of this in one day. But you don't have to get through everything in one day. Just pick 3 things that are really important, like making a deposit or making a transfer, and use that as your sort of like to rein yourself in from going crazy trying to, do 10 things in one day. That may not be within our capacity to do because there's overwhelm, there's pain, there's appointments, there are other people who might need your attention. And sometimes 3 is doable. If you can do 3 and you're comfortable with doing 3, then maybe add a 4th thing. But just know what your limits are so that you can rein yourself in and not get overwhelmed thinking that you have to do everything that's on your to-do list. Because sometimes, I mean, if sometimes my to-do list gets really, really long, and I either have to delegate some of that or I have to just leave it for a different day. All right. So one way to get a better handle on money, and if you're trying to save money, is to call one place each week to see if something can be reduced. So like your cell phone bill, or can you get on some kind of a plan for your light bill? When I was struggling with my bills, I called Seattle City Light and asked to get on a discount utility program. And They also have a program where you can get billed every month rather than every 2 months to kind of help break up the plans. I don't know if they still do that, but your utility bills and other bills could be, you could minimize them by explaining that you have, you're on Medicaid or SSI. My sister receives SSDI, so she has some benefits that actually benefit the whole household, but she has some benefits that I need for her, and so we were able to get some bills discounted. Unsubscribe from email shopping lists. I have a dedicated email for any online shopping that I do, and if I go into like Best Buy or Pizza Hut or whatever, I will continually get coupons or sales or some kind of uh, email that wants me to buy and buy and buy and buy. And so when I order something, I just unsubscribe from everything other than this is when your item is going to be delivered, because I don't want to have the temptation to just be able to purchase something from an email or from an app on my phone. Which brings me to, oh, actually, that's not number, that's, I think it's later, the deleting of apps. So another way to have more money in your pocket each pay period is if you have too much money being withheld from your paycheck. A lot of people are like, oh, I want a big refund check from the IRS. But what happens is that when you have um, too much money taken out and you get a bigger refund when you do your taxes, that money that is refunded to you, the government's been holding on to that and earning interest on your money, but you're not getting the benefit of the interest. You're just getting whatever it was that they took out of your paycheck. So you can use the IRS withholding calculator, which actually is offline, I think, for a couple more days. I checked it last night. But you can go in there and play around with the numbers to see if you are actually having too much taken out of your check. And you could have a little bit more in your paycheck if you play around with the numbers and then just have a way you can talk to an accountant or the person who does your taxes to kind of balance it out so that if you still want a refund, you still are getting more money in your paychecks. But there's a way to do that so that you can also end up with zero tax due, but also a zero refund. But throughout the year, you have the benefit of having more money in your pocket that you can use for savings or for paying bills or for any goals that you have. All right, so back to that whole unsubscribe from the emails, cancel memberships and subscriptions that you're not using. And I will in the resource sheet that I'm going to have sent out to you guys, I'm going to include an app that you can use to go through your accounts to see what you have that you're not using. Sometimes we have subscriptions to streaming services that we forgot to cancel, or some other weird subscription, and this app will help you find those subscriptions, and you can decide then if you want to cancel them or not, but sometimes you might be paying for something and not realize that you're paying for it. Save for a better mattress. This is something that I have been on a mission to do. And I found out that there are organizations that will provide mattresses free or at a discount if you are low income, if you are disabled, or have veteran status. And those are also going to be in that guide that I'm going to send out later. Get a wellness check and tell your provider what issues you're having. Whether you think it's a physical thing and you just keep taking Tylenol or ibuprofen, it could be something that doesn't even occur to you. When I was complaining about my sleep, I kept insisting to my doctor that it wasn't sleep apnea. They were like, it sounds like you have sleep apnea. And I was like, I don't think it's sleep apnea. It's not sleep apnea. And my doctor wanted me to go in to get a sleep study done. And I didn't want to go get a sleep study done because I knew I wasn't going to be able to sleep in a lab. And then they said, well, now we have one where you can do it at home. And I said, fine, we'll do it at home. And it turned out that I did have sleep apnea. So sometimes we do know our bodies really well, and sometimes we may be mistaken about what is causing a certain condition that we have. And it's a good idea. I always find that when you're going to go in for something that's that maybe you're going to try to fight back with your doctor or your care provider on, if you can, take somebody with you to take notes or to be an advocate, or also to tell you, hey, maybe there's something to this, especially if it's a partner. Like if it's somebody who says, you snore a lot at night, or it sounds like you're not breathing at night, then they can be like another voice to help you figure out, what's going on. But a lot of things can be resolved with, or at least managed with a trip to your care provider to see if something needs more investigation. So identify triggers that keep you awake. If you received a collection call during the day, then that's probably going to stay in your head throughout the day, and you're going to be ruminating about it, and you're going to be wondering about it, and you're going to be like, oh my God, what am I going to do about this? Should I call them back? Should I just pay it off? Should I make payment arrangements? Should I do this? Should I do that? There isn't um, a perfect answer for every situation. Only you know your particular financial situation, and you can take that information, sit with it for a few minutes, and then write out a plan as to how you're going to deal with that collections call, or the call that says you're overdue on your phone bill, or the email that says that you need to pay your light bill. Find a way to minimize the trigger. When I used to get collections calls, or when I was battling my mortgage servicer to try to save my home before it went into foreclosure, I had a lot of physical symptoms. I got headaches. I wasn't sleeping. I got headaches. I felt the strain in my neck and in my shoulders. I would feel upset in my stomach, and so I couldn't eat, and so then I didn't have any energy. And I didn't learn at the time to do physical things and to do writing things to help minimize the feelings that I was having. And if journaling about it, or going for a walk, or talking to somebody about it doesn't help, then you can ask your care provider to help refer you to somebody who could help you identify any triggers that will help you, so that you can minimize those feelings when that you're going to get, because maybe you know that you have a couple things in collections, or maybe you know that you have a debt that you haven't paid for this month or for the past 2 months. Those things are going to affect you physically. They're going to affect you in a lot of ways, and it's going to affect your sleep. And if there are ways to help minimize those triggers, or if you can get actionable steps to deal with those situations, that could go a long way to giving you maybe a couple extra hours of sleep, and help you the next day so that you're in a better position to deal with the things that are being thrown at you during the day. Designate a day and time to do financial tasks. My admin day used to be Monday, but now that I'm taking my sister to an adult day center on Mondays, I've changed that to Tuesdays. So every Tuesday, I get up, I have my breakfast, and then I come into my office and I do nothing but admin tasks all day. I make my appointments, I pay my bills, I set up bill pay, I check my balances, I check my retirement, I check all my things that have to do with running a household on Tuesdays. I've been doing that for the last 2 weeks now. And I find that by designating a day to do my tasks, it frees my mind up on other days to do other things. So I started to get back into scrapbooking. I'm walking almost daily now. I find that I have more time to do that because my mind is being occupied with something else. I'm not thinking, oh, I forgot to pay whatever. because I already dealt with that on Tuesday. And Tuesday at the end of the day, like at the end of the business day, if I haven't been able to make an appointment or get to paying something that isn't due for 2 weeks, I will leave it till the next week. I'll make a note of it, but I won't deal with it anymore the rest of the week. And I do recognize that there is a certain level of privilege in being able to do that. So maybe you need to have 2 days a week, maybe Monday, Wednesday, maybe Tuesday, Thursday. But by designating a day where you're going to deal with your financial tasks or your administrative tasks, you're basically compartmentalizing. You're creating a window during that time, during that window of time, your brain is going to think, okay, I'm going to be working on dealing with this collections call, paying that bill, applying for a reduced utility bill so that you can know, or so your brain understands, okay, I dealt with this during the day and I have a cutoff time of 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock. The rest of the day is going to be for doing other things, cooking, doing laundry, getting ready for bed, so that you can begin the process of making your brain accustomed to shutting off money related things at at that time that you designate or after that day that you designate. Exercise. I have found that working out has been a huge contributor to better sleep, whether that's swimming, walking, chair exercises, yoga, or doing simple stretches that you can do at on your couch or laying down on your bed. Simple movement, something that stretches your muscles or tells your brain, okay, I'm going to be doing this movement now because and then focus on that rather than focusing on the money issues that are giving you challenges in your daily life. So one of the things that I didn't put on here that I was supposed to put on here was to delete shopping apps from your phone. That was supposed to be like number 7, but deleting shopping apps from your phone forces you to, when you want to buy something, it forces you to get up off the chair or out of bed to go get your wallet to input the credit card information into the app or into the browser. And if you're feeling just tired and you're just like, "Ah, I don't want to get up and go to the other room to buy this thing. I'll do it later." At least in my case, my ADHD helps me forget that I wanted the thing in the first place. But by deleting shopping apps from my phone, I found that it really makes a huge difference in how much I'm spending because it's too easy to just tap a button and add to cart and then check out in, like, say, the Amazon app or the Sephora app or whatever app that you're using that's on your phone. It not only frees up storage on your phone, but it's also going to free up a lot of money if you do that. All right, so now we're going to go on to, let's see. Oh, okay. Here are 10 ways to prep at night. Like I said earlier, I've tried all of these and not all of these worked for me, but there are some that do that I have been really trying hard over the past couple of years to kind of get into. So get gently physical. Stretch your arms and legs to the ceilings and the walls. If you stretch like you're reaching for, like if you're laying in the middle of your bed and you stretch your arms in either direction and you feel like you're trying to reach for the wall, you can feel the muscles in your arms just stretching. And I have found that that helps me relax. And so I've been trying to do that a couple times a week, and I'm going to try to do it every night because it really helps me focus on the feeling of my muscles and my arms actually stretching. And it kind of blocks out other kinds of outside things that are happening in the world. Massage your arms and legs. Get a favorite body lotion, get an unscented body lotion or an oil, and just give yourself a massage. When I'm sitting in front of the TV at night, I always have some kind of cuticle cream and hand lotion, and I just go to town on my hands. Like I will do this, for a good, a good 10, 15 minutes. And it not only helps my hands look better, but I also feel like by the action, I'm actually stretching my fingers and helping them not become accustomed to being on the phone all the time. Read, read, but not on a device, not with something that has a light shining through the screen. The Picking up a physical book or picking up a magazine is something that's really going to help get you into the habit of putting your phone aside or your Kindle or your iPad to one side and get you into the habit of turning all that stuff off, like, a good hour before bed. You don't have to read for an hour before bedtime because you can also do other things, but reading is a really good way to just kind of get into that zone. And I've read, and I really try not to do this. I've read that reading anything that's going to bring you some kind of negative emotion or negative thought is not the best thing to be reading before bedtime. So I tend to read things about travel, or I will read about, I'll read recipes, or I'll look up recipes in a cookbook or something, because it's kind of innocuous. It's not going to cause me to feel like, the world is on fire, or, climate change. It's not going to do that. And so I try to look up things that just will bring me not necessarily, joy, but that aren't going to make me upset before I go to bed. Okay, why isn't this moving? All right. Oh, it's making me go back. Okay, now I'm not getting oh, hold on. Aha. Take a warm shower. If you can, preheat your towels in the dryer or on a heated towel rack. If getting out of the shower and having a blast of cold air is something that really is triggering for you. I personally am not, I like cool things. So I wouldn't do this for myself. I tried doing it and it didn't work, but my kids like it. My kids like to have their towels preheated so when they get out of the shower or the tub, they feel warm and cozy when they do that. So if that helps you, then that's something that you could think about doing. Using a favorite body wash. Again, with like with the lotion, if your favorite body wash is unscented, then use unscented, or use something that is a scent that you can tolerate once in a while. I tend to prefer unscented body washes, so because I don't like the lingering smell that hangs around me after I get out of the shower, but use something that you really like, because if there's something that brings a familiar scent to you, then that could help you relax. Don't eat within 3 hours of bedtime, and don't snack in bed. This can help you avoid heartburn, which I learned as I started entering my 40s. I was like, why am I feeling like this in my chest when so I made the connection. I talked to my doctor, and yeah, that's something that, just isn't recommended to do. And it can also interfere with any medications that you take at night. All right, remove devices from your bedroom, which is really hard. And I have to say that this did not work for me, but I do turn them off. I don't put them in a drawer, but I do turn them off. Some people they'll keep their phone. They want to hear their alarm, so they'll put the alarm like far enough away that they have to get out of bed to turn it off. But keeping your devices out of reach or turned off or out of your bedroom also helps with waking, because they say that you shouldn't look at your phone first thing in the morning, which it's really hard for me to not do that, but I'm trying really, really hard to, just to follow that so that I'm not looking at the news and I'm not looking at social media and I'm not looking at crazy stuff in the morning when I wake up. Um, if so I have to set alarms for almost anything I do, and I have to set alarms sometimes for my alarms. So I'm a big proponent of setting an alarm to remind you to turn your phone away, to turn your phone off or to put it away at least an hour before bedtime. Get cozy. So this is something that I'm really, really passionate about. I am very, very picky about the kinds of sheets and the way my room feels when I go into bed, when I go to bed. Um, I want it to be like my space, my personal space, where I understand or my brain begins to understand that I leave everything outside the door. I leave money worries as much as I can outside the door, caregiving duties outside the door. And my room is like my little sanctuary. It's like my little cave, my girl cave. Um, Surround yourself with things that make you happy and promote like a feeling of emotional and physical warmth. Remind yourself that night is for sleeping and day is for acting on money tasks. If you wake up during the night, remind yourself that you are safe and then begin to take slow, deep breaths so that you can gradually get your body back into that state of sleep. Create a rule that you're not going to shop or pay bills after a certain time. So my cutoff time is like 5 or 6 o'clock on Tuesdays. After 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, I don't worry about, oh, I forgot that bill, or I try really hard. And it's taken a lot of training on my own to do that so that I don't um, bring that into my bedroom with me. And then instead, you'll focus during that time on reading, writing, your activity. You know, maybe you want to fold some laundry or maybe you want to watch a TV show, but make it a rule after that designated day, make it a rule to set a designated time. And after that, you're not going to worry about things that you can't do anyway because it's after business hours. So that's why I turn my mind off after business hours. Taking care of your physical health by nourishing your body and talking to your care provider is also going to help you on your journey to getting better sleep. There will be nights when sleep is going to be challenging because you're going to have things that just you really, really won't be able to get out of your head, but you're also going to have good nights. So think of each day being a new opportunity to start again. Talk to people and ask for help because people want to help. I just recently hired two caregivers to come in to help me with my sister. It took me a long time to take this step, but I needed to do it for my mental health. There's just no way that I can be a caregiver for two people. And so I'm bringing somebody in. Um, and they're going to be starting in the next couple of weeks. And so I think that that's going to help me focus on other things that I need to nourish my brain so that I'm not thinking of caregiving or problems with my mom and my sister when I go to bed at night. Your financial situation does not define who you are as a person. A lot of people think, oh my God, you know, why can't I do this or why can't I do that? Or I've always been bad with money. That doesn't define who you are as a human being. All of us have some kind of trauma, financial or otherwise, that has an impact on how we manage our money and how we see money and how we use our money. And whatever the situation may be, it has no bearing on who you are as a person. And I really, really try to remind people of that because we can be really, really hard on ourselves. So your health is more than just your physical health or your mental health. There's your there's your, your physical, sorry, financial, physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health are all connected and they all deserve care. And because they're so interconnected, an imbalance in one is going to cause issues in another one. And it's probably not possible to have complete, perfect balance 100% of the time. So nurture those parts of you that need the most care, and that will help you that by extension helps nourish the other parts. And that is all. Does anybody
Thank
have
you.
any?
I'm gonna turn off our recording. Okay.